I don't know. Doing a podcast. Leave me alone.
Exactly.
Gosh.
Oh man.
You know what I would when I got off of when we started thinking about doing this more about like, and then everyone that I listened to on your podcast talk about the mentoring.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like I have good ones, and we didn't.
I know.
I'm telling you, man. As soon as you started talking about Huntington, I'm like, oh, okay. Let me answer
Huntington
these
Beach.
questions.
Yeah. Well, it's a great story. I mean, look, dude. Like,
It is a
what makes
decent.
it interesting is that you guys weren't good, and then now you're one of the best, if not the best.
We were awful, and so and I am like seriously was so attached to losing and like so miserable
Yeah.
that to get it where it is right now is like, okay, I want to talk about that.
Yeah.
But then
Yeah,
then
but
I
then-
realized that I mean the winning hasn't been all that great.
Yeah.
There's other things that are really great.
So tell me about those things. What about,
I mean the really I remember Rich Amaral, who's experienced it all.
Yeah.
And after we won CIF in 15, he's just like, you're really lucky, you know that, right? And I said I am. But then he started to point out things that I guess I didn't really take into account. And it's like, the parents that we had, they weren't a pain in the ass. They were great parents. They were super supportive. They were just like totally in it, and then which made their kids totally in it for all the right reasons. They were supportive of each other. He's like, you get an off year where some parents don't like each other, they don't support each other, then the kids don't support each other. And so in that sense, super lucky. We were lucky to have a donor that was willing to pay for our stadium,
Yeah.
right? So we got lucky in the sense that we had the Little League World Series in our town. Somehow they wanted to come to Huntington because we weren't good at that time. We had really supportive parents with a lot of money who really wanted to support me. I don't know why. I was kind of an a-hole at the time, Not that I'm better now. I think I am a little bit better now. But just like the support, we got a superintendent who was a baseball dude. His son is Plutko, Adam Plutko,
Oh,
who
yeah,
pitched
yeah.
to UCLA.
Yeah.
And
Indians.
and
My buddy drafted him.
right, and he's in the Indians organization. So that was our superintendent. So he really
Yeah.
supported
Okay,
us.
that's awesome.
Our current superintendent was a baseball coach, played for the Cubs in the minor league system. So,
Oh, wow.
Right, our principal played college baseball. So it's like all these different things just happened for us at Huntington, where it's just like a perfect storm of positivity, and it all just flowed. And that's where I just feel like I'm so fortunate, because I look at other programs or I look at other coaches that I'm close to, and I'm like, yeah, I didn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
I don't have to deal with that. I don't have to deal with a principal that's on my case all the time, or an AD who's like always on me. They support me, and I'm just really, really lucky to have great parents, great kids.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really made my job easy, almost to a point where it's like, I think I have confidence in myself. Like, I know I'm a good coach.
Yeah.
But really, when it comes down to, I'm lucky, man.
Of course.
I got great players,
Yeah.
And I remember Bob Zamora after he won his 6th CIF championship. Not his 7th, but his 6th. And his quote, and you go back and you do some research, he has the same quote every year. And it's always, you got to have the horses.
Yeah.
You got to have the horses. He says it all the time. He takes zero credit for it. You got to have the horses.
Yeah.
And that's what it is, man. I have the horses, and the horses are the parents, my players, my facility, my coaching staff, all
Yeah.
of it. Those are the horses, and that's what wins.
No, I agree. And we ran into Bobby Z my first year at Costa, lost them in the quarters, 1-0, and guy couldn't have been cooler. And I think he said something similar that day. He's like, look, this is a year we had some talent.
Right.
Maybe last year we didn't, but
Right.
but we all, as coaches, we all need. We can have the best. You can have the best coach in the world, but if he has zero support and zero talent, he's going to maximize the potential, but it's never going to be what it could be.
He's the master of simplicity. I mean, so simple.
Yeah.
He's just like, everything's a regimen, but it's not. He couldn't care less about blast motion or Rapsodo.
Yeah.
Like he probably like, well, what the heck is that? I remember one time, one of the people who does his social media posted something about our fall league game, and they beat the hell out of us in a fall league game, and they posted it, right? And he called me the next day, and he's like, I don't know what the hell that guy. He's like, I don't even know how to get on there and turn that thing off. He was like, I don't know if it was, and he didn't know what the name of Twitter was.
Yeah.
He's like, I don't even know what it is. I don't know how to stop it, but I'm really angry at him that he did that to you, Benji. And actually, my best and more story is we played him year one, my first year. They beat us in pregame.
Yeah.
I watched him hit pregame at 57 years old. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't even hit a pregame like that. They beat the hell out of us. Year two, play them again, same tournament, beat the hell out of us. Third year, we get close. It's like 7-2.
Mm-hmm.
They still beat us. And then year four, he comes up to me and he's like, I'm telling you, I'm seeing improvement. And I know good things happen to good people. I know you're a good person. He's like, good things are going to happen to you this year. They beat us again. But then we end up winning a league title, whatever. And he was the first to call me. First one.
Oh, wow.
First one to call me. Tell
That's
me
awesome.
Congratulations. And so, I consider him and his pitching coach, Goose, who's just phenomenal. Like, there are those mentors that we all look for, that just, you want those guys in your life because they've experienced 10 times what you've experienced. They've been through so many ups and downs, and they're still just positive and they're willing to help anyone out, you know, and they saw this young kid who was struggling, but they could see potential in me and they just always wanted to help.
Yeah.
And Z's always been the best, man.
Yeah,
he's so awesome.
That's great, man. And again, you mentioned it. Mentorship is huge, especially when you're on the road in the beginning, the first steps, because you just need a touch of encouragement. I mean, I think, everybody is going to struggle and that's fine. But if you have somebody just say, hey, dude, you're okay. You're okay. Yeah.
You're okay.
You're going to struggle, but you're making, like you said to you guys are getting better. And I'm sure for you, that was like, wow, okay, good.
Right.
I know I'm on the road.
Right. And every time we played them over the years, I'm probably like 2-10 against Capo Valley over my 20 years. Honestly, I think I've only won twice. He's always said the same thing, and I always call him. I said, "What do you see?
Yeah,
what can we do?" And he always tells me the truth. He's not afraid to tell me, your defense up the middle needs, you maybe want to switch these two guys. And he always has great ideas that I've never thought of.
Yeah,
but they're very simple. Maybe you want to switch your second baseman and your shortstop. Your second baseman seems to have a stronger arm or whatever it is. He has great ideas, and you should bunt a little bit more. You should have sacked in that situation. Like, all right, gosh dang it.
You guys sack? Do you sack?
Yeah. Yes. We do.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
Every once in a while.
Yeah.
I hate sacking, man.
It's
an out.
I know. I'm the same way. I think there's a place for it late in the game, but yeah, it's not my initial thought.
Trot is your offensive
Yeah, he does a great
coordinator,
job
right?
too.
He does do a good job.
Yeah.
But he's not sack happy.
No, he is. He likes to do things, but only in the right spots too. He kind of gets it. I mean, that's been one of the great things, like, having him walking in and he's been there and understands kind of the program and, what has made them successful. He's been huge. And then I don't even worry about the offense because I can just let him do it and he does a great job. And, once in a while we'll look at each other, with a thought, but I mean, he's awesome.
Right. I know. Every once in a while I'll make a call and then I'll give a sign and then the guy may square around. I'll look at my hitting coach and he's just staring at me, Jeff Rizecki, and he's just staring at me like, don't do that.
Yeah.
Take it off. Sorry, man. I don't know what I was thinking because I want an inside game more.
Yeah.
But I know what we can, especially at our place.
Yeah.
275 to left. For goodness sakes, man.
Yeah, I know.
You can miss hit a ball and hit it out. So we might as well just
keep it down and away there.
Right.
Gosh.
No kidding. So anyway, like I said, I've been really lucky, and I'm I hope I can. I don't ever want the luck to run out because I don't want to be I don't want to be exposed as a coach. But I am learning, and every year I'm constantly learning. I'm never gonna stop trying to be better and try new things if we need to. But I always have to remember the guys who are great do it simply.
Yeah.
And my high school coach was the master of simplicity too. It was like the same practice every single day, and you get kind of tired of it, but then you realize how good you are at the little things.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, if you can play catch in high school baseball, you're golden.
Right.
Yep.
Right. And he was the master of it, man, and he was like, he would not bend.
Yeah.
You had to do it right, and you did it over until you did it right. And then there was a mountain behind Polly that you had to jog to, and then see you at the top of the mountain. Like, he'd sit there and wait for you to get to the top and back. So it's just the way it was, man. It was like the Army.
Yeah, no, I know. Those Those are different times, but good. I mean,
Right.
good, huge for us, huge for me too. Harbor College, the exact
Same thing, right?
Yeah, exact same thing.
I mean, were they tough like that? Like kind
Oh
of.
my gosh, yeah, yeah. We had the lake runs where we're running around and they're homeless guys, in the bushes, and it's like a 2 mile run and they're waiting for. I mean, dude, we got absolutely buried
Really?
consistently.
When I
Yeah.
always hear you guys doing bear crawls
Bear
too?
crawls, yeah. I mean, it was relentless, but it was the best, at least for me, the best thing
Right.
could happen for me. I was a private school kid from Loyola High School.
Right.
That never touched a rake in high school. We had a person that did everything
Right.
for us. And so Harbor was awesome because it toughened me up. And I had it in me, but I needed somebody to pull it out of me.
Right.
Not just the compete on the field, but like be tough in off the field environment stuff.
Right.
So it was great.
I mean, I'm trying to do that at Huntington to an extent
Yeah.
without being crazy, you
Yeah.
know? And I think I was more that kind of old school at the beginning.
Yeah.
Just super tough and hard on everybody and like never come to the park smiling, just always just pissed off.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as I turned the corner, I actually told the players that, which I'm kind of ashamed of. Like, you turn the corner and you got to have some a-hole in you, like
Yeah.
right now. Like, wipe the smile off your face. We're going to work, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then as years go on, you start to appreciate the kids. And I'm not big on, hey, let's have some fun, but let's just go out and have some fun. I'm not that guy. That's so weak. Like, let's work hard.
Yeah.
And that's fun. And winning's fun. Winning's fun.
Dude, that's where I'm at too. Like, winning's fun, and so whatever you can do to create a culture of work and grind, then the winning kind of takes over, and then they
Right.
see results too. Like, that's ultimately everybody just wants to see results.
Right.
Like, they're getting better.
Right.
So
And I was win at all costs, even taking the fun out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even think when we won it was that fun,
Yeah.
because I was like on to the next thing and just like,
Yeah.
but we didn't win all that often. We lost so much, man. Like, there were so many losing seasons where it's just like, oh my gosh, like I was miserable all the time.
yeah,
And now I look back and I see, I have like 250 losses
yeah,
in my life or in my career, which is, I mean, a ton. I don't think
Yeah.
Z has 250 losses. He has like 800 wins. And I think I'm more proud of the losses. I think I've learned more. I know I've learned more from the losses. I don't think you learn much from winning.
No, I agree.
There's
Yeah.
certain wins that you learn from, like where you have a guy who's like shouldn't be out there and he got the start and he was prepared, or
Yeah.
you're down a bunch of runs and you come back. All right, the never give up those lessons, but there's so many lessons in losing
Yeah.
where you learn from. And so I learned a lot. I learned weekly.
Yeah. I know,
and it's just like, how we've got to figure out how to right this ship, kind of thing.
I know, and it's painful too.
Oh my gosh.
What kind of coach was your dad?
He was tough,
Yeah.
but I think how I'm starting to become what he was ultimately, and for those of you guys that don't know, he was a football coach at Ontario High School. I always remember his voice. Like, he was always on people, and it was like a little bit of sarcasm, a little bit of humor, kind of hard on you, but like in a loving way,
Yeah.
and I don't think anyone ever took it personally. I don't think, it was just more of, it was tough love kind of thing,
Yeah.
with his players, but not, I don't think he's even close to as big of an a-hole as I've been, and I've learned to try to, I think I'm morphing into that personality, now that I'm getting older and I'm getting to the age of where he was when he was coaching, and when he passed away, some of the stories, you get more of the stories, from people are more willing to share with you,
Yeah.
which is cool. And maybe my players will share some stories with my kids before I go. So I could actually like
Enjoy 'em.
defend myself.
Yeah, exactly.
But the stories that I got from him or from his players were more of just like, he always had our back. He was always, super supportive of them off of the field. One of his players told me and I knew this was going on kind of, but I didn't know the extent of it. One of his players was dating this Mexican girl. It was a black kid. Now, Ontario High School is a lower income high school. His black running back was dating a Mexican girl. The Mexican girl's brother was in a gang and didn't want him dating, didn't want them to date because he was African American.
Yeah.
And came to football practice, standing outside the gate, saying they were going to wait for him at his house and they were going to shoot up his house.
Yeah.
Which was believable. It was totally believable back then, and it was believable in that neighborhood. My dad took him home, drove him home, waited for him, made sure he got into the house, walked him into the house.
Wow.
Made sure he was all right, told his mom, he's there for you if they end up coming back, call him, he'll come back, he'll come help Marty and that kind of thing. Another one was that a kid didn't have a suit for graduation. My dad bought him a suit, and granted, we didn't have any money. Exactly. I mean, he's a friggin' teacher. He's a teacher. He didn't make much money, and so he's buying suits for kids, and he donated his coaching check at the end of the year so that they had a banquet. That was a yearly thing.
Wow.
Besides being a coach, so he would wake up at 4 a.m, he'd teach 0 period. He would get on the field. He would coach. He'd come home. He'd help us with whatever. And then he had a job. He worked 2 jobs. He was teaching at a jail.
Oh, wow.
He would teach inmates to get their GED at the Riverside County Jail. And so I actually, after 10 years after my dad died, I got an email from one of a former inmate saying how he was like super supportive. This guy's like reformed now. He's got a family, he's got a job.
Yeah.
And he said he never, my dad, I guess, helped him along the way. Yeah. So, I think that's what it ultimately comes down to for me is like, and I think that's what separates. I try to explain it to the kids, my players, and I don't think they quite understand it because they just don't. They're too young, because they see me coming from this passionate place. And maybe it's misguided sometimes. Maybe I fly off the handle and they're like, what the hell? Like, this guy's a nut. I mean, I'm sure they think I'm crazy, sometimes, because it's just like, it's passionate. It's deep rooted. It's more than just baseball, and I try to explain to them. Maybe I can't verbalize it as well to the kids, but my passion for teaching and helping comes from such a deeper place. And it comes from maybe a ghost, of my dad, where it's just like, I'm trying to live up to this level of helping people and being there always and having kids' backs and, really, really being supportive, because that's the stories I'm getting about my own dad.
Yeah.
And I just want to do that, I just want to try to reach that status. So, it's not just baseball for me, not even close. And it was early in my coaching career. It was just like, I just want to win. I want to like have a good reputation. I want my program to be good. And now I think I got that rolling a little bit. And now it's just all I care about is just helping these kids. Yeah. And I just want to be there for them as much as I possibly can. And some of them may disagree. Some of them don't want to be loved hard. Some of them don't want to hear what I have to say, and it's just like I'm being honest with you because I want to help you, in any way, shape, or form. And I think that's what my dad was the master of.
Yeah, and when did that start with you? Like, when did you feel like you flipped that switch to where it became less about win at all costs and more about how do I shape the next generation, or at least help to?
I think it was he died in 2003, September 2003, and there was probably a 4 or 5 year period of me trying to find who I was. Depressed. I'll admit it, I was drinking too much. I was partying too much. I was a mess, And then my wife and I started a date. She's straight, she doesn't drink, doesn't smoke, doesn't do anything. And then she kind of cleaned me up a little bit, but she also refocused who I was. She pointed out I think I was mad at myself for some reason. Like I don't know what it was. I was angry, I was angry that I lost my dad. And
how old was he at the time?
He was 60.
Okay. So
young.
Yeah.
Young. And it's like these crappy people all over the world are living, and they're, continue to do bad things. And here's this dude who's just a good dad, a good coach, a good teacher, a good mentor to everybody. And it's like, it didn't make sense to me. It didn't sit well with me. And so I think my wife, and she'll take credit. she'll take credit for sure. But when we started dating my wife, I mean, we've only had one losing season since, so she's got a good point.
Yeah.
But she started to refocus me on what's important.
Mm-hmm.
The biggest thing my wife has said that stuck with me, I mean, she says a lot of things, but the thing that stuck with me is she's like, you come from good stock. You need to hold yourself to a higher standard. You know, there's some people who didn't have what you had.
Yeah.
You know, they didn't have two parents who loved each other. You didn't have a dad. They didn't have a dad who was a coach, who was a good coach, who was a good teacher, who cared about kids. Like you have no excuse not to be that.
Mm-hmm.
You have no excuse not to do that in your career. And I think I was using the excuse of my dad dying to just kind of be a jackass, you know, to kind of not be focused on my program, to just kind of like, yeah, I thought I was focused by getting on the kids.
Yeah.
I thought I was focused because I was competitive. I thought I was focused because I ran a hard practice. And it was like, I needed to live it. You know, I needed to live my life the way my dad did, which was clean and which was cool and which was like just all about helping people. And then it started to flip. It flipped quickly. And I think the kids saw that side of me, that I was more of a caring person than I was just this hard, like, freaking general in an army, you know, angry all the time. And it started to roll, man. But it really came down to my wife just pointing out, I could do better.
Yeah.
You know, and she said it in a loving way, but she's like, you could be better.
Yeah.
You could be better than what you're doing right now. I remember I had long ass hair.
Oh, did you really?
Oh my gosh. I had long, like an afro. It was huge, curly hair. I remember cut it, started a haircut rule. Everybody had to have a haircut.
Yeah.
The way we wore our uniform turned around, like it wasn't just, everything was, all of a sudden it started to become like this cultural thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it all came from, like, my wife started to point out little things like, you need more discipline in your life. And then, like, all right, stop chewing tobacco. And like, oh, it's just like, gosh dang it.
Yeah.
She wants me to quit drinking coffee. That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah.
There's no way, man.
You got your
Come
Americano
on.
right now.
Come on.
We're in Playa del Rey, and there's a place called Tanner's Coffee that I absolutely love. So.
And the coffee is really, really good.
Yeah. So it's from there.
Every time I thought you guys had, I thought you had a coffee pot brewing in the Westphalia.
No, that's on its way. Don't you worry.
We gotta get something figured out.
There's a Gaggia or something, like however it's pronounced. I'm new to this whole world, but it's on its way. It's full on espresso machine.
Anyone that's listening to this, you have no idea how cool this setup is. Like we're in a van, we're overlooking the ocean, talking about baseball, drinking coffee. It's pretty awesome.
I agree. It's lucky for sure. Like you said, fortunate.
You're right. No kidding. I mean, so with you, how was your high school coach? Like who was your biggest mentor? Like to provide you with coaching, playing wise. Like I imagine Andy Lopez had to have a huge impact on you.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're gonna kind of deep dive into this, so it started early. I had great coaches growing up. My best friend's dad was one of my coaches, Vince Mauk, you know, local Playa del Rey guy, played at LMU. You know, really, really good guy that I definitely didn't realize I looked up to at the time, but you know, he's been a guy that I've definitely followed how he does things and watched. Mike Izzo, another guy that coached me at Delray American Little League down the hill, and you know, tight with my whole career. I'd say Andy Diver was a major one as well. Recent coach at Redondo,
right,
and coached me at Harbor, coached me at Loyola, and this was back to the tough love thing. Dude, hard on me,
right,
like consistently,
right,
but didn't realize at the time. I actually did realize at the time. I knew he did care about me, and he did a good job of that because he would find time to have lunch, talk about other things off the field.
right.
But regardless, it still sucks when you hear that you're not good, which
right.
I wasn't at the time. So
right.
It was good to hear it. Now, Jay Ullman at Harbor. Jay.
Yeah.
He was my coach at Harbor, along with Andy, and they were a huge part of my development. Just Jay was great about being a human being when the practice was over.
Right.
So you realize that he wasn't just some madman, that he definitely had a personal side to him.
Right.
And then on to Andy Lopez. And Andy Lopez,
Legend,
good Lord,
man.
that man. Yeah, he is one of my all-time favorite people, and it was the standard he made you live up to that you didn't realize you could get to at the time.
Right.
But I remember we're playing Charleston Southern midweek game. I'm closing. I think I struck out 5 in 2 innings. And the whole time I'm out on the mound, he's yelling, El Camino's better than these guys. Southwest College is better than just
Really?
making sure that I don't think I got it all figured out.
Right.
And this was only like my second or third Division I start. So
Goodness.
yeah, there's a big part of that. And then, I've been lucky. Like, Pat McMahon was there after him. He was awesome as well. Great dude, cared about all the players. But I mean, I played for Torey Lavello. I was around John Farrell.
Wow.
Just so many talented people that have kind of helped me get to where I was.
Right.
But I do need to kind of single out one guy is Fernando Palomo. And you said you were going to cry.
I know, man.
Frickin' A, man. So
where did you have him? Where did you meet him?
So the reason I wear 29, right?
Because your best friend.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was his son.
Oh, got it.
And so Kristen was...
For those of you guys that are home, we did a podcast last week, and we talked so much about high school baseball, we didn't really talk about what we wanted to talk about, which is all the important people in our life, why we coach. And I was telling Keith that I wasn't going to be able to make it through when I started talking about my dad, and I think I pumped myself up on the trip down here. I'm not gonna cry. And Keith said, "Well, I got the story about my best friend."
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shoot.
So Kristen was, you had Nick Prado,
Right.
and it was very similar. Like just so dominant from a young age, and we were not best friends, but we'd been hanging out a lot recently. We were teammates, played against each other. Started to spend a lot of time together toward the end, and he's playing first base. He was a catcher playing first base, pop up on the line, collision at first base, and passes away on the field.
Goodness.
And for all intents and purposes, and to this day, like that motivates me every day.
That's awesome.
Playing, coaching, the whole deal. And I remember one of my kids I coached was talking about I don't know if it was Marcus Stroman or somebody. It was Lance McCullers. He was saying, Lance McCullers, he's pitching for 2 tonight. Because I was like, who do you think is going to win, Astros or Yankees? He's like, Astros. Lance McCullers is probably going to be out there. He's pitching for 2. And that's how I've kind of felt like I've lived my whole life. It's like Kristen was so good, and he belonged in the big leagues. And so
dang,
I was going to do everything possible to make sure people knew who he was.
That's unreal. The story that how he passed away but you just got to believe it was supposed to happen, when freak things like that happen. And that's what helped me with my dad. Is just like it never made sense to me.
Yeah.
The doctors, stage 4 cancer, like what do you mean? They gave him 6 months to live. He lived 2.5 years because he's just tough. And he just didn't want to go anywhere. Then my brother and my sister both got pregnant about the same time. So he knew he was going to have he was going to have 2 grandkids in the year, so he wasn't going to miss that. And he just hung out and just kept going, And so oh man, now you're going to get me. I remember when he told us he had cancer. He sat us all down in the room, and he was, we look like a bunch of sissies out here in Playa del Rey crying in this van. Hopefully no one's walking by. 2 red-eyed guys. He sat us all down. We're in the living room, and he tells us, he's like, I got prostate cancer. And, and we were like, well, he was kind of vague. What's the prognosis? I don't know. He gave me 6 months to live, but I don't believe that. I'm going to get a second opinion. And I remember we were just sitting there quiet. Didn't know really what to say. I remember him getting up. And he went into his room, and he came back, and he had a shirt and tie on. And then we're like, what are you doing? He's like, I got to go to work. And left for work. And I remember that like burned in my memory, man.
Yeah.
And whenever we used to, let's say we break a huddle or we're in the dugout or whatever, and I don't even know my players know this. I as a matter of fact, I know they don't know this. And I say, let's go to work. It's constant. It's always said, let's go to work. Let's go to work. And every single time I say it, I'm thinking about that day. He's dying of cancer.
Yeah.
Right? He's going to die. He's thinking in his mind. He's just told his family he's going to die from cancer. And he gets up and he's like, I got to go to work. he constantly was like that. He was always working, like always. He's a soldier, man.
Yeah.
And he was
Provider.
so tough and so awesome. And I think the other thing about him, which I now have tried to learn, I never knew if he had a good or a bad day. It was always a good day around my dad.
Yeah.
You know, it was never, he never came home and brought anything home with him. You
Yeah.
know, he never brought a loss home from football. He never brought a bad day at work, you know, students or whatever screwing him over or whatever. He was an awesome dude. Like always happy, always smiling, always joking. And so like when I lose or when we lose,
Yeah.
you know how you could bring it home and you could be short with your kids or you could
for
snap
sure.
on them. Like, I mean, kids are kids, man. They can
Yeah.
wear on you, you know. Even my 5-year-old daughter is the cutest thing in the world. Like, will you just leave me alone? You know?
And how many girls do you have?
I have four girls,
Yeah.
4 daughters, 11, 9, 7, and 5. I'm trying to soak in the 5-year-old because it happens fast. You know, they grow up
without
fast.
a doubt.
But I'm trying to like find techniques of like leaving it at the yard, leaving it all there, because my dad obviously had that figured out. And I think it just comes down to knowing and realizing what's important. And winning sure as hell is not that important, right? It just isn't. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't. And we got to trick ourselves into believing that, into really believing that, you know, and not just kind of halfway believing that. Just like the lessons that these kids are learning, what we're providing for them daily, the process, the culture, all of that.
Yeah.
Those are the important things, because really high school baseball's stupid.
Yeah.
It really is, man. It's so stupid. You could lose a game that you're totally in, you know, like you've dominated and you could lose.
For
You're
sure.
like, oh, I mean, I've done that so many times where I just wave my hand at the field like, that's stupid.
Yep.
This is stupid.
Especially the team you're better than, and you've lined out twice with the bases loaded,
Right.
and they you know put together 1 or 2 runs, and you lose 2-1. You're
Right.
like, how did this happen? Like,
Yeah. And then their Johnny coach is taking responsibility for the win. Like, get out of here. I don't care that you have a pen in your hat. You know, you're writing everything down. I don't care. You didn't deserve to win that game, and I know you didn't, and you know you didn't. But
you got a pen in your hat. So
I
you're
know,
set.
exactly.
Too funny, man.
I know. But yeah, I mean, it really is a deeper motivation than just coaching baseball.
Yeah.
You know, you've seen Saving Private Ryan.
Of course, yeah.
At the end, when they're trying to figure out who Captain Miller is, and there's a bet and whatever, it's right as they let the German soldier go, and he's like, I'm an English teacher at Thomas Edison whatever high school, and then he throws in the line, and I coached the baseball team in the springtime. You know,
Yep.
I don't know why, and my assistants always make fun of me because that always gets me, and I've brought this up at banquets and stuff. It's like, it always gets me in that moment whenever I listen to that, because it's like, that is so far from what I am.
Yeah.
You know, I love Tom Hanks and I love Captain Miller. Yeah. Like, I love that movie. And the fact that he's the baseball time in the springtime is cool.
Yeah.
But it's like, I am so much more than just the baseball coach in the springtime.
Yeah.
Like, it's more than just a baseball coach, you know, and I want every one of my players to know that. Like, baseball is just the platform. It's just the tool.
The vehicle. Yeah.
It is. It's the vehicle for sure. And, you know, to be passionate about the game obviously is really important. And I love baseball. And I don't think I emphasized that enough last time we talked, because I was talking, my first love was football, and it was obviously football because my dad was a coach, but baseball is for sure in my like bones, like deep in my bones, and it's hard, and I'm never going to be able to get it out. You know, there's no way. And so, but it is just the vehicle to just teach these kids on how to be men and how to be really good men, how to be good fathers. And, you know, if I start talking about that with the kids, talk about being good dads, and I start thinking about my own kids, I'll break down.
Yeah.
And so, but it's important for them to know, you know, and they see this in me, they see that come out of me, and they're like, oh man, this is deep.
Yeah.
You know, and I want them to know how deep it is. So maybe I should tell them.
Yeah.
Have you told the story about your best friend to your team?
A couple times, over the years.
Can you make it through it?
Depends. Sometimes if I'm fired up, I think I've told it twice, and both times it was when I felt like kids took the day for granted.
Right.
And that's when I just, because again, you understand what happens,
Right.
or what could happen. Obviously it's as rare as it gets, but just don't take it for granted. That guy was the best. Like I said, should have played in the big leagues. There's nothing you can convince 6'3" left-handed hitting catcher that was leading the area in home runs at the time as a sophomore.
Are you still close with his
family? Yeah. Always will be.
Dang.
Yeah. So
you got to send this podcast to
I don't know if I can, man. It's still a tough one. One for. So like Playa del Rey, this area we're in, it hit this area hard just because it was.
That's
the
tragic.
chosen son, so to speak. So yeah, it's brutal.
Oh, dude. Yeah, other than my first year when that accident happened with my players, I didn't lose anybody. I didn't lose any. I haven't lost a player. Knock on wood. My good friend Toby Hess at Marina, just the kid who fell off the balcony recently, and he called me at 6 a.m. crying.
Yeah.
And that's why he's one of my favorites. That's why you're one of my favorites. It's like you guys, we all care about what we're doing at such a deep level that that there's, and I think everybody does to an extent.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that we're better than everybody else, but I definitely I gravitate towards people who it's real.
Yeah.
It's not just so that they can get their name in the paper kind of thing. They want to see their name on the whole thing. And that's not, I don't need that. I don't need that in my life.
The same way. It doesn't inspire me either.
No, and you can pick them out real quick.
Yep.
You can see how they march around the third base box and how they stand out in front of the dugout and the show's on them.
Yeah.
And, get back in the dugout. Gosh. No one wants to see you.
Yeah, uncle.
Right. No one is here to see you and your act. Yeah. And I'm sure people probably, because I'm loud at games, I'm loud at practice. And hopefully people don't think that about me. Not that I really care what people think about me, but I know what my intentions are.
Yeah. And I do too. And I think that's ultimately at the end of the day, it's, we had Virgil on not too long ago, and he said success is peace of mind, and that's all it is at this point for us. Having the peace of mind that we're doing our best.
That's some wooden stuff right there. And I'll tell you, in the first thing, it was one of the first books that I bought. We're both readers. It was one of the first books. You become a head coach, you got to know how John Wooden coaches.
Yep.
And I remember seeing that, success is peace of mind, and I'm like, yeah, I'll have more peace of mind when I win. I'll be more peaceful when I win. But now I get it, and 21 years as the head coach and 29 years in, I just I'm just good with having a good practice every single day. And if we go into the game prepared, whatever happens, it'll happen. Will it hurt a little bit to lose? Yes. Will it hurt more to lose to someone I don't like? Of course. Yeah. Bad. But I know my kids, I'm pretty sure my players love me at the level where I love them.
Yeah.
And so we would just go in together and hey, let's get into a fight and see what happens.
Yeah.
And have each other's backs. And that was the one thing that one of my dad's players said to me. He's like, I knew he always had my back.
Yep.
He always had my back. And so I use that all the time with my players. Look, I'll have your back for the rest of your life. Just listen to me and have my back. Just have my back. Don't talk crap behind my back. Don't talk crap about my decisions. Don't question me. And I'll have your back for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
The rest of your life, I'll be here for you. And I mean it.
Yeah.
And these kids will come back and they freaking appreciate that love. Most of them appreciate the tough love.
Yeah.
So
no, I agree.
It's pretty cool.
And it's obvious, man. That's again, you talk about gravitating to people. That's why we gravitated to each other in Palm Springs all those years ago.
Yep. I know. No kidding. Although you wanted to see my hand all grounded up.
Yeah, that's true.
What
you
the
just
heck
got
is
off
this
the lawnmower accident.
Oh my gosh. You probably are thinking, who is this idiot who stuck his hand in
trying to fix a lawnmower
while it's going?
Yeah.
Crazy. That wasn't good. Yeah. I throw a mean cutter now.
Yeah.
That's what I can know it up to.
Yeah, exactly. So
well, that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, good stuff, man.
That's good stories.
Yeah.
And I feel better about this one for sure, because I think it needed to be said. And I told my mom I was gonna, and I do want to say that And I know you feel the same. I mean, I'm a mama's boy
Yeah.
for sure. I talk about my dad being, I modeled my career after my dad and kind of chasing the ghost kind of thing. But my mom is super tough,
Yeah.
and my mom has been 18 years without her husband, and
Oh.
that's been,
Yeah.
and she's one of those, she's a Mexican woman where she's like, that was the love of my life. I don't need anybody
Yeah.
else. Like that's what it is. He's gone. I don't,
Yeah,
I'm
there's
just I'm gonna invest in my grandkids, and that's what it is. But my mom, I think my toughness, um, you know, is from her. My just stubborn, side of just like I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna bust my ass every single day, is comes from my mom. My
Yep.
mom has that kind of work ethic, so I would be, it wouldn't be a good thing to not mention her.
No, I know.
And I've seen how your mom takes care of you. And,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm so fortunate with my parents. Same thing. Two parents that love each other. They've been together for 40 plus years. So
And so now you got to hold yourself
irreplaceable.
to a high,
Yeah.
and you got to hold yourself to a higher standard, right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
so you see these kids who don't have that,
Yeah.
and you try to be there for them, you try to like show them, but you kind of can understand why they're a little messed up,
Yeah.
right? You can kind of understand, like kids come in and they're struggling throughout the week, and like, what's the matter with you? You want to find out, you want to look under the hood and find out what's wrong, and it's always something at home.
Yeah.
My parents are fighting, or I think my parents are going to get divorced or whatever, and it's like, okay, you can kind of see why they're screwing up a practice. You can kind of see why they're not totally, their swing's a little messed up because
Not mentally engaged.
no,
right?
man,
Yeah.
they're diminished. They're totally diminished because they're. Why? How could you focus? Like if I was 16 years old and my parents were getting divorced, or they were fighting all the time, or my dad was sick at that time, I wouldn't have been able to do anything.
Yeah. Agreed.
I was. There's no way. I was too immature to be able to deal with that. I was too immature to deal with him dying when I was 30 years old.
Yeah.
I mean, how would I supposed to deal with that at 16?
Yeah. No chance. And again, that boils back down to why winning at the end of the day is nice, but ultimately not that important. And our job is way bigger than that. And that's
100%.
100%. So
Well, thanks for having me, man.
yeah, man. Thanks for coming my way. First time.
I am so glad I got you to cry before I started breaking up.
Well done, dude. First time. You win.
I won. I won. Nice. No, but I really like where you are. I'm gonna have to come back here more. We'll bring the
Bring the
kids.
family.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bring the family. We'll hang out.
Yeah, cool. Awesome, man. Appreciate
Thanks,
it.
dude.
Thank you.